What's up, you guys? It's Ben. Thanks again for checking out my YouTube channel. I would super appreciate it if you hit the sub button. We just smashed 100 subs and we're obviously going for many, many more. So keep that sub button smashed, as well as the like button if you enjoy the content in this video, of course. If you don't enjoy it, tell me why in the comments and we'll fix that. But anyways, today I just wanted to go over a little simple concept. I was thinking about this all day today, and you know, it kind of applies to a couple different facets of business, but overall I think it's paramount to recruiting in specific. So recruiting itself is a hustle. Most any business in general is a hustle. What is a hustle? So a hustle is something where you find a gap or an arbitrage opportunity in the market, and you come in and you swoop underneath, and you're faster than the next guy, and you fill that arbitrage or that gap, and you provide a service or a product that someone needs or has to have or can't do themselves or will not do themselves, and you make a profit based on that. So in this case, starting a recruiting agency, what I'm doing is basically providing staffing services, meaning finding candidates, vetting them, sending their resumes over, making sure they make it through the process, getting them hired, getting them qualified, and then collecting a fee on their head once they stay a certain amount of time. So that's my business. And basically what it is just simply providing a service for people that either don't know how to do it or don't want to do it. So it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple, right? But there's more to this. There's layers to this cake. So people, you know, often email me and they ask me, like, you know, how do I get started in this business, or how do I, you know, network or source, or how do I, you know, do whatever, you know, insert XYZ question. Really, my response to a lot of you is take 5 steps backwards, okay? Because ultimately what I think is happening is a lot of people are overthinking what they're doing. And I'm a big fan of understanding concepts. I listen to Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, and people who, you know, put things in perspective. So I think it's really, really important to understand big picture and thinking big, but not thinking too narrow and small and overthinking. So avoiding those things, but thinking large and thinking big. So for instance, Grant Cardone says, you know, nobody would ever be able to steal all of his money because nobody thinks big enough. Meaning he's got so much money that nobody would ever think about stealing it because they don't even know how to steal that much money. So with that being said, and let me tie this back into recruiting, this is an age-old hustle, okay? So basically what I'm doing is I'm just doing a video quickly on the modern day techniques, the modern day age of this hustle. So going back centuries and centuries and centuries, and this is for all of the people who email me and connect with me and ask, you know, how do I get started in this business and what is this business about? It's about brokership. So if you go back 1,000 years or whatever, I'm bad at estimating, but let's just say 1,000 years, and you go to the Middle East, right? And you have 2 parties, one who might have an asset and one who might have a need for that asset. Generally what happens in 1,000 years ago in the Middle East or Asia or elsewhere, there comes a third party involved. So there are 3 people now involved. One person with the asset, one person with the need or want, and this third mysterious party. Who is this third mysterious party? Well, this person is called a broker. Unofficially, in, you know, ancient times, 1,000 years ago, this person would not have been called an official broker. But what this person's purpose was to basically mediate between this person and that person and create a partnership so that they could all agree upon something via the medium, the broker. I'm the broker. You're the broker. The real estate agent is the broker. The loan agent at the bank is the broker. These people are taking advantage of arbitrage in the market. So this is an age-old business. This is just a new age take on it and a new age spin on what we're doing. So this broker position has always been around. This has been around forever. today we call them just the real estate agent, or just, the stockbroker, or your lender, or your recruiting agent, your recruiting, recruiter. So this broker position is really what you're doing. Ultimately, it's an age-old position, but in a modern day world, we've spun it a little bit and we've created it as a much more finite, direct, defined position. So now we call ourselves, recruiters, or, staffing agents, or whatever you want to say. But I personally, like to say that I'm a recruiter. I'm the principal of a recruiting agency, and that's what I do. And basically what I am is a broker. So I'm that third-party broker, and basically I'm replicating techniques and tactics that were done in ancient times, where a third party would come in and they would go back and forth between, the first guy with the asset, the third guy that has, the need or the want for the asset, and they would say, I think it's worth this much, and then this guy would say, I don't think it's worth that much, and then this guy would come in and say, well, it is worth this much, but you could work on this much, and maybe if he gives you a little bit extra, maybe he'll give it to you this at this rate, or maybe this and that. But guess what? At the end of the day, every single time on every single one of these deals, this third-party broker is always collecting a commission. That's the big secret. So no matter what, he's always going to collect a commission, and that's going to come from both parties. So basically, he's going to collect from, the guy who's getting the asset and the guy who's selling the asset. And the reason being is because this critical third-party component is absolutely crucial to making this happen, okay? So large companies, or even medium-sized companies and small-sized companies, all need this, okay? They need this third-party broker to come in between and find these candidates and submit them and go back and forth and qualify them and vet them. And this is an age-old tactic. You're just being a broker, just like you would have been 1,000 years ago, between somebody selling like a rickety old boat for fishing to a fisherman that's his livelihood. So basically, all I wanted to say is, like, the mechanics of a modern day world practice have been practiced for centuries, and all we're doing today is taking a spin on that and making it more practical, more specific, more realistic, and we're widening out the market in a huge way. It's prevalent amongst the tech space, the general labor space where I play, and all over pretty much. So I started my recruiting agency in the general labor space and did a ton of money there, and moving upwards and finding sales organizations and all kinds of other companies that need the services of that third-party broker. So understand that you're nothing more than that third-party person who's connecting to individuals. You're just doing it in a modern day sense. So the mechanics of the hustle are the same. Nothing's changed. It's all the same practice. You're just dialing in better on this and being more specific, charging a higher fee, charging a structured fee. And back in the day, they would probably just casually say, okay, we'll give you 5% of the transaction, or we'll give you whatever, a free meal or something, whatever, who knows. But this has been a practice. If you research this, this is a real thing. Like centuries ago, this is how people did business. There's always a third party involved. So today it's that real estate agent, it's that lender, it's that stockbroker, and it's that recruiter. So the mechanics of the hustle are identical, and I just wanted to kind of explain that because a lot of people reach out and they talk about how this business works and how to get it started and all of that. All of that's just overthinking. You're really overthinking the concept. You need to understand all of the things that I just said and kind of put them in practice and put them in perspective. So don't overthink, but think big. Think big. Don't think narrow. Think big, but don't overthink. So maybe that made no sense to any of you. Maybe it resonated with some of you. Hit me in the comments if that did resonate with you. I was just pondering all of that today. So that's my news here for Wednesday. I'll catch you guys on Thursday, and peace.